That's something else we wanted to test in this shell. These are the two threats that I wanted to test the GP, but I didn't have to test. I like this art for Courser. This is a Magic Online exclusive, I think. This art of Courser. Mr. Spawn, I hope you have the most amazing, wonderful dreams. Excited to see more foretold shenanigans. Maybe. Oh, yeah. Maybe. And don't forget Melfina. Melfina, you were the proud owner of the Card Hoarder bow tie. You know what? That's a lot of main brutalities. I understand that the card's flexible. I think we're supposed to move this, this, or this to the sideboard. Yeah, we should move something to the sideboard, and then cut either the extra ooze or what have you. I think that's a redundant ooze. I think we can get away with the one of. Courser was actually in paper as well. Oh, was it? Oh man. Well, I still like this art. I still stand by my choices. I regret nothing. Sorry to be misinformed, stream. It was in a Clash Pack? Clash Pack promo. Fair enough. See, I learned something tonight. Alright, so yeah. We'll try out Tracker and Crewfix. The deck feels like it does just want more meat. Meat? It wants more meat. And this also is enchantment plus creature, so it has synergy. So one of these cards is going to go to the board. It might be the third. Ah, this card's so good, though. But this is... Maybe it's... Explosives is tutorable. Maybe it's Pulse. Maybe Pulse goes on the board. No. Card's too good. I mean, we have played Ooze in the sideboard, by the way, before. Like, we do still have main board Graveyard Hate. But Ooze is Ooze, man. Ah, Ooze. Do we still have that sleep command? Yes, of course. Alright, well, I'll figure it out later. Anyways, I'll see you guys in the next Brews by the Magic Guy. Let me know if you need anything else. Bucket, do you want to get your the cards we're borrowing for the other deck back right now? From the Zombalance deck? It's close. I mean, like I said, this is just a prototype. Like, I'm already excited by the things the deck's doing. I think we did get some interestingly difficult matchups. Technically, my opponent misplayed and had us dead, like if he wasn't stoned. If he was not stoning. Oh my goodness. Yeah, if he wasn't schmoking. I don't know, that was his excuse. That was what he told us in chat. I mean, you know, like I said, I'm not really one to judge, but he was like, no, that's why. He like basically told us because he was smoking, he didn't read how balance worked, and then he clicked on the wrong stuff or something. Yeah, I'll see you. You good? You can borrow them? Alright, well thanks, man. Just let me know when you want them back. This looks really sweet, though. This is just, like I said, a prototype. Let me screenshot it one more time. I'd love for one of you guys to pick this deck up and play it in paper at, like, a local F&M or on Magic Online, and you guys can figure out the actual build. My worry was we weren't having the sack engine often enough. Like, even with 4 Gargadons of Azerseer and the Husks, we weren't assembling the full-blown... Like, we didn't assemble this... plus this, or this, or this. So, I mean, thanks to the Talaria West, it's like you have access to more balances. Obviously, these Talaria Wests in this build will post-board also be an Explosives or an Ancestral. So, we did just, like, we buried somebody in cards with this deck, right? We did kind of, like, win more Game 2, didn't we? And then we lost Game 3. Lost Game 1, won more Game 2, and then lost Game 3. I would totally play this. Ghosty says, you almost have this deck, actually, but you're missing balances and visions. Okay. Well, the important thing is the balance, actually. Well, vision would be important, too, I suppose. Because you need more... Like, the thing that I was... Hang on a sec, stream. The thing that I was concluding about Astrotold, even if you just run a 3 of, is the card wants more than one payoff spell. And it's hard to find the right payoff spells. I mean, the obvious choice is Ancestral. That's the easy one. Like, any Astrotold shell should consider Ancestral. The hard part is building a deck that abuses another payoff spell, whether it's going to be Living End or Restore Balance, I don't know. This deck has a lot of natural recursion. I don't think it needs to be Restore Balance. This is the kind of deck, though, that I would consider a split of Balance and Living End. And maybe the first Living End is better than the first Tolaria West. I mean, it just depends what you want to do with the deck. I mean, some of our threats are already recursive, though. Like, Messenger, if you're sacking it the first time, comes back anyway. Lily wants to be sacked. She wants to be killed. Ghasts and Gravecrawlers already are like, yeah, I don't care. Like, the only thing we would be bringing back with a Living End, although it's relevant, would be the Artists and the Zulaports. And I guess Husk. But yeah, I mean, this could also be like, the cool thing about this deck is this deck would abuse all of those effects. Like, this could be a good Balance and Living End shell. But then, if you're running Living End, then you'd also want this deck to maybe have access to a Bajuka Bog, and then it starts to kind of, what's the word? I think that Balance is actually more powerful in this shell because of the Gargadons. But I think you could also tweak this deck to, in addition, be a Living End deck, and maybe that's worth running. I mean, maybe it's worth running, you know, even just the first Living End, just to have more synergy for this card. What about reanimating a Grizzlebrand? Yeah, run some Grizzlebrands and then you discard it to Brutality. Yeah. I don't even think that's necessarily bad, Romario. Romario, you're into decks like this, right? Why don't you pick this up? Haven't you played Legacy Zombalance before? I'm pretty sure I saw somebody stream that at one point. Why don't you pick this up, play it, figure out what's wrong, figure out if it's supposed to be Grixis or not. I mean, the red's here for like 7 cards. Which is why there's one. I mean, there's various reasons why there's no basic mountain. That's one of them. Obviously, also Blood Moon doesn't need a basic island. I gotta go to bed though, guys. But imagine balancing and then discarding a bunch of big things to Living End. Yeah, true. You did, Romario? Yeah, why don't you pick this up, man, and see if you can figure out what it's supposed to be doing? Because I think there's actually really cool synergies going on in here. I mean, maybe instead of the extra Tolaria West, you just run the first Living End. It is really slow to transmute. So that was an extra Tolaria West you don't necessarily need. Like, there's your first Living End right there. Yeah. Yeah. And we just sack all our dudes and bring them back to a Living End. You like something like Prized Amalgam? How much is Living End, though? Let's see. You can try it out? Yeah, try it out. Let me know what you... Just let people know this was... you know, a BrewSpy channel, Brain Baby or whatever. You know the drill. You know, Romario's cool like that. You're one of the few, man, in the brewing community that I've noticed actually does a good job crediting people. Yeah, I have just enough loan account to get that last card. I'll go ahead and place it. We'll grab it. We'll test this with one Living End. I think that Balance is the better payoff spell, but Living End may be better off. I think the first Living End has a lot of value, you know. And with any note, like the more Tolaria West we run, the more copies of Living. Like this is like almost 5 copies of Balance, 5 copies of Ancestral, 2 copies of Living End. So that seems good to actually just have access even to the first one in the 75. Because if the game goes long, we'll be like, well, crap! If only we could bring back all these, you know, artist effects, you know, or bring back our Lily that got killed, or bring back, you know, this or that. So yeah, I could see that being a thing. Like if the game goes long enough, you know, you get like wait a minute. Guys, we already have something worth Living Ending. Why don't we just discard Gargadon to a Brutality and then you Living End the Gargadons as 9/7? Guys, we already have some threats in the deck that are worth Living Ending. These. As a freaking 9/7. I think this is actually totally reasonable. Okay, I just traded for it. We'll run the first Living End. This is like totally reasonable in this deck, isn't it? It's another way to sweep the board when we get all these triggers. Right? Oh, no, it's exiles. No, it's sacrifices controls. Sorry, it's exiling when it comes to the graveyard, but it's yeah, the ones that, yeah, this is sweet. This is sweet. That's probably because it's like 3 in the morning for me that I'm saying this is sweet, but I'm going to work on this deck for a bit. I think I was supposed to be doing something like, okay, here's the thing. The Soul Toll Delirium / Snakes on a Plane deck is very controlling and is very reactive. Problem is Modern's really not in a place to... You don't gain any points for being that style of deck. You don't. You just don't. you don't really gain, brownie points for being a mid-rangey control deck right now. So I think if we're gonna try to abuse like Foretold, something that I just realized at the GP, maybe just a little too late, into our testing, was it's better in Modern just go ahead and be degenerate. There's really not much stopping you from doing so. I think the format that I should have been playing, maybe a fair deck, was Legacy, and I took a fair deck to the Modern tournament, and I took a degenerate deck to the Legacy tournament. But people were gunning for degenerate in Legacy because Counterbalance was banned, and everybody was expecting degenerate. And then in Modern, I could have just been plain degenerate. Does that make sense? I don't. If you guys don't play Legacy, maybe you don't know what I mean by degenerate. But like basically, a deck that's not worried so much about what your opponent's doing, you're more worried about what you yourself are doing. So I think Modern promotes that style of being, that style of play. Actually, that means that the living end is going to happen over here. Living end is probably going to be something that the deck is doing over here. We can put all the transmutation ones over here, though. Like the ones that have to happen through the Foretold. These are things that are more likely to happen the turn after. Or they can happen the same turn that we cast this, so. Does that make sense, stream? Like, I think that I flip-flopped. I think that I should have been, and I thought I was a little bit degenerate with the Sultolium Delirium because of the draw engine / balance engine, but I think if you're going to do it, you just need a deck that's dedicated to doing it, and certainly the strongest synergy is this plus this, absolutely. This plus this is just a huge... This was already an archetype years ago, Balance Gargadon. And sure, it's a light red splash, but maybe that makes the mana a little bit cleaner. That lets us run things like Urborg. That lets us, pull off the draw messenger despite having an island and a Talaria West of the mana base. Although I just cut a land, so that's not good. Maybe we'll cut the Lily. She's a little cute. Well, of course, it's Lily. She is cute. But I think this card might be a little adorable. I don't know. We kind of flooded out though that last game. Maybe what we can do is we can add another Vizirasir instead of the Nentuko. This might just be, as people were saying earlier, just a crummy card, and like we could do this. That would lower the curve and give us more scry. So yeah, maybe Nentuko is just not where we want to be.